Hi, this is Reny here with our second YouTube video for artistic hand lettering, and we are going to do a fun art journal page about profiles, and this is the profile that we sent you. But before I do that, we talked about a fun thing called stencil reduction technique. So in the supply list, I had you have a completed background. This is just a run-of-the-mill background completed. And what I'm going to do is take a contrasting color, and I choose a color that's opposite on the color wheel. That's what makes it a contrasting color. You've got orange on one side and blue or green on the other side. So this is what I picked for that. And then you need a stencil. I have two stencils to show you. I'm going to use this one that looks like mermaid scales to me, but I wanted to show this as an example. If you look at this one, there's a lot of larger open spaces. I think that works better for this technique than small little things. So I'm just going to go ahead and be ready, because once the paint's on there, you've got to be ready. So this is just baby wipes that are dried up in my stash, and I'm just wetting them. So to do this technique is very easy. All you have to do, but time is of the essence. Scary to completely cover up a lovely background like that, because I'm just gonna paint over the whole, page. And you get scared for just a minute because you're like, wow, I'll never have that background back. But this is just a neat way to add contrast and dimension to a background. So there you go. It's pretty much all painted, and then you lay your stencil on it, and all you do is wipe away the paint. And it kind of mutes the tone of the background a little bit as well, and I like that. Some people do, some people don't, but I do. And I'm not real picky about it. I'm just, and as you can see, I moved it, and I probably shouldn't have. So it's just how it goes. But you know what? It's a background when it comes down to it. But look at that.
That's gorgeous.
And look at the difference of this color compared to this color. So it tones it down a little bit, which is good. And I think it makes a lovely background. So real quick, I'm going to do the other side so you'll get to see it again. I am nutty for Dina Wakley's paints. I think they're the best out there. I love the colors. I love the thickness of the paint, the opacity of the paint, everything. So I'm just painting over it. And again, when you consider that it's a background, it's not the focal point, then that's helpful when you worry about it being perfect or not being perfect. So I'm just going to lay that on there. I'm going to use the same paper towel. I'm going to turn it inside out and wipe. It's a lovely day in Arizona today. Lovely day in paradise. How easy is this? Faith, will you try this at home one day?
I sure will. That looks awesome. When you said reduction, I thought you meant smaller. This is awesome.
Well, reduction, you're reducing the amount of blue paint,
Right.
is why they call it reduction, imagine. But I didn't name it. But there you go. I am going to sit this up here in front of my fan to dry while I work on the page. So while my background is drying, I want to show you a couple examples of the page. And these, one thing I forgot to put in the supply list was that you need some kind of coordinated papers. I'll start with this one to show that all these papers came in the same scrapbook pad. All those papers are designed to go together. So all you're going to do is cut out a bunch of profiles from your paper. And I did one in the purples, and then I decided I wanted to do one in rainbows, and these are pretty small, but the one I'm going to do for the class is large. So I'm going to put these aside and say this is what we're doing. And I must apologize because I saw this idea on YouTube, and what I do is I save a photo of it to remind me that that's what I want to do. And I wanted to give the artist credit, and when I went back to look for the artist who kind of did this idea, I could not find it for anything. So it is not my original idea, but I cannot credit the artist. So I'm doing this one with jelly prints, and that's a shaving cream print. We've all done those. And so I'm going to do this. So here's my profile pic that I got from a magazine. And what I want to do is cut it out. And I don't want my pencil lines on the side that I'm cutting out. So what I do is I turn the paper over, and then I turn this backwards, and then I just trace around it that way.
And that's a great tip.
Yes, and that is so that you don't end up with the pencil lines if your cutting's not perfect. But again, look at this, it's the easiest thing in the world. And instead of using my original to trace around, I cut one out of cardstock so that it's a little bit thicker and can hold up to being traced around 5 times or however many people you want. So this is what I have. I'm going to quickly cut this out with my paper scissors that if anybody used them for anything other than paper, I think it would be a punishable by death offense. Everybody's got scissors like that. So real quick, I'm not being picky. I'm not being fancy. Somebody mentioned at the card swap the other week that my style is free and easy, is what she said. And I believe that, and that's a compliment. My problem is nothing is ever trash. Like, I will keep all of these and tear them up and use them in a background. And then the next step, if you look here, what I did was I just went around the profile with a Sharpie marker. And I did the same thing here. And it looks nice, but I wanted to try something different on this one. So what I'm doing is going around it with black ink. Ordinarily, we use Tim Holtz Distress ink with a brush for techniques like that, but because I'm applying it with a wet medium, I need to use an ink that will be permanent. So I'm going with my Gina K. And you talk about nothing's trash. I have very strategically placed the face down there so that I get this neat thing. And one day I'm going to paint it or something, but you will see it on the page one day. And this goes real fast and easy too. So I'm going to put the face right there just because that's where I want it. But I just go around very easily, and it gives it a little dimension. Kind of makes it look like a round head rather than a flat head. Let's do this. You just got to get here. There. And you don't have to do the back because that's going to be hidden by the one that's next to it. So I see myself watercoloring them, is what I see. So I'm going to put that aside, and now through the magic of television, I have all of these all cut out. and I have inked around all of them. So when I was choosing my prints, my jelly prints, I tried to choose some that were going to contrast well with my background. Let's get this. This is probably either dry or close to dry. Well, let's hope.
I love how that turned out.
I know, and it's completely dry, but it was sitting in front of the fan. So the next thing, you just want to look at the colors that you have, and you just want to play around with what order you want them in, knowing that the face will be the last one. So I was looking for maximum contrast for the first one. That's a good contrast. That's a good contrast, but not the best, because of the pinks are the same. That's a good one. That's going to be too close. The red might be good. I'm torn between the red and the purple. Red. Okay, so I'm just going to, and then I want to put one that's very different next to it. See, light, dark. And then, oh gosh, it's going to be tricky with the fold, but we shall figure it out. Okay, so that's the order I'm going to go. So the next job, I just picked up my whole stack, turned it upside down, and I'm a big fan of the credit card for adhering things. So I'm going to move these so I can use my craft mat for my glue. Nothing like a craft mat because everything comes off of it. That's the beauty. Anything you feel you need to edit out of this at the end, because I don't know if it's necessary to see me do this same thing 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But we shall see. So I put some on the back, some on my page, and then flap it on. Flap is a technical term, but I like using the card because, like I said in the last video, it takes out the air bubbles and makes it nice and flat. So like the last video, this is just a technique to make a fun page. I'm not going to finish the page here, but I will finish it and post it when I'm finished so you'll see. And then you want to slightly overlap . You want to slightly overlap, see? But you want to leave enough of it that you can see it.
Oh, that looks awesome.
Well, we'll see. Now this paper's different. Ooh. I make a huge mess when I craft,
That's the best way.
and that's okay. Oh man, I was watching a video of somebody making a huge mess yesterday. It was awesome. Okay, so there's 2. We're going to have the craziness of the corner with the next one, so we'll see how that goes. But they're all in order. Still want to put it probably about the same. She's crooked. But I'm also trying to think ahead because I don't want the face of the next one to be in the corner. This would have been, if you looked at my samples, maybe your first time trying this, see, this is where the card comes in handy. You just kind of tuck it in. Just tuck it in. And honestly, if I was not filming this right now, I might even cut it but I think for now I'm just gonna tuck them in and keep moving. Come on, this head is not sticking down for whatever reason. Okay, so there's head number 3. What I didn't do, that's always a good idea, is to put a piece of paper or something underneath so your pages don't glue together. I like the way it's looking. I
It
thought
looks
this would
great.
be too busy with the jelly prints and things that aren't made to be coordinated,
No, it looks
but
wonderful.
I like it. But this is my kind of art too. It's not for everybody, but it is for me. One day we'll get back to the club and have fun. Okay, so I'm trying to make it, oh golly, this fold. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing. First I'm gonna smooth out the face. Yeah, the reason I used the ink that I did, think of what the Tim Holtz black soot ink would be doing with this wet medium had I used it. It would have been smearing all over the place. So I'm just pushing the paper into the crack and moving on. And it is what it is. The next one's gonna be real tricky. Unless, I think I might just plan to have it further back and we'll just have to see. This is where I'm learning and playing just like you. So if I was doing it like all the other ones, it would be right here, which would put it right in the fold. So I think I'm just gonna move it back a little bit and put it right here. Okay. Okay. It's kind of interesting. So I'll put it as far over as I can without having the face in the, there you go. Without having the face in the fold. This will be in the fold and that's okay. You just smooth it
That
down.
works. That worked.
Yeah, let me see, that worked. And I just keep scraping, and that gets out the bubbles and gets out the excess matte medium. Now I'm making a decision whether I want this one on here and then this one. If I do that, it will be off the page. So I just decide, is that what I want? Or do I want to just do this? I like this white flower, so I want that on the page. Art is just for fun. You don't stress about it. You just do it. And I think if more people thought that, they would make more art. And if it turns out awful, so what? You just don't show everybody. I have stuff I wouldn't show anybody. I don't post everything. I just post what I like.
That's the fun thing about an art journal too. You get to play and practice and experiment.
Yes. And I like my little Snark Attack book that I'm making because I decided that's going to be a great gift for somebody. So that's awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to put the last one on and she's gonna hang off and I'm okay with it. I'll just cut it when I'm done. So where do I want her? Maybe right here. So this is actually the last step to the techniques that we were learning today, which the first one was the stencil reduction technique, very easy. I'd love to see everybody try that. And then putting your papers together to form this. Now this page is not finished. What I need to do is embellish it somehow. I need to write words And I'm gonna put snarky words, where's I'm either going to write, oops, worse. I'm either gonna write, don't rush me, I'm waiting for the last minute, or dear Naps, I'm sorry I was a jerk to you as a kid. But either one of those is gonna be written on the top there. And that's it. It's very easy.